All right. Well, hey, Jace, how you doing? We are back. Happy 2025 for the first crypto corner in 2025. How was your New Year?
New Year was good. Just chilled and watched all the neighbors do fireworks because everyone in my neighborhood does the big fireworks. So watched all the fireworks. The dogs weren't that fond of it, but they managed. And yeah, crypto's been great. So I've just been the last couple weeks. I've been really diving into all the new meme coin stuff going on XRP. So that's been a big part of my focus and trying to make more XRP basically. So I think we'll probably talk about that a little bit later. But yeah,
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that meme coin a little bit too. So one of the things that I was thinking about over the holidays, and we did actually a deep dives in the desert. Me, Lisa, I had my 15-year-old on with us as well. We're getting her perspective on some stuff, and
yeah,
it was cute though. I couldn't believe she actually had her own opinions, and she was talking, and I was like just sitting there. I don't know why I was amazed, but I was like amazed that this little shit was
yeah.
like she was doing her thing. But how you doing, Ken? And so, but what I was telling like what we're gonna do as far as with Crypto Corner moving
Mhm.
forward, into 2025. We really want to talk about what are some actionable steps that we can take. What are some different, what are some of the different things we can do as far as dollar cost averaging. If so, because you don't need to go in with $10,000. You start with
Right.
something in dollar cost averaging. You can use stop losses or stop limits if you need to, depending
Yep.
on what your strategy is. If you want to just buy and hold, you don't care what it does, or you want to like kind of mitigate the loss and jump in at a better point, whatever you want to do. But there are different things you can do, and it doesn't have to be one or the other. Everything can work in complement if you have the right balance and you're watching what's happening and you don't become overly or heavily weighted in one area to
Mhm.
kind of amplify your risk. Um, so I was thinking that, when this, starting off this year, we'll go into, if you could talk how kind of some of our strategy and what we do, or well, really not what we do, but what you do at Conscious Crypto. I don't want to take credit for
Hey,
your
you're
stuff.
part of it too,
What
though. I
you,
mean,
yeah,
you're in the
and
group,
I
so
jumped.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're definitely a
I
we.
jumped right in the pool with you, my friend. But what you promote on in the Conscious Crypto Academy
Mhm.
and the XRP family, that's something that I once I started to really look into, and hearing you guys talk about it and everything is just something that you know uh, that I moved into, and I'm happy we did. But you
Mhm.
talk about how it ended off that year, when since we started the show talking about it until now. I mean, it had amazing results, and we could talk through it. But then we got to wipe the slate clean and say, now what are we doing from today on? And so, we do have a lot of people out there that they do feel left behind with the stock market. They are hearing that all these different terms, and I know I felt that same way. All these different terms with crypto,
Mhm.
and it was it was confusing, and I came from an investment background, so you get uncertain if you're really not a stock guy where you
Yeah.
know how to trade, and you're
Yeah.
just kind of in it, and you see the markets going up and down. So you're like, I know this is being manipulated. What's going on? I want to move to crypto. I see everyone do, but it's really confusing and scary. And if I move my family's money over and I lose it, I'm the schmuck that lost it. It's on me. No one's going to look at my wife and go, "What'd you do?" They're going to be like, they're going to go to the husband and go, "Oh, why would you
Yeah.
do something like that? You had no idea." And so I
Right.
always want to talk about the importance of a coach and a good academy, which we just so happen to have one on the show,
Mhm.
Jace.
That's right.
And so yeah, and so we just want to go like, you know what? Yeah, there's some confusion. Some people feel left behind, but there's no reason to worry about those things because we do have you back at Crypto Corner, and Jason and I will answer any question. Jason's been really, really generous with the knowledge that he really, it took him, kind of years to really develop the knowledge base that he has, and he just gives it out forthright. So it's a great thing. And so, what we're going to do is we want to do something where you start to move to action, even in a small way. Do some research, buy a wallet, open up a wallet online, do something. So that's where we really want to get into, especially and moving throughout the year. We want to get into steps that are going to be actionable for everybody. So first thing is, so really quick, I'll just go through is I don't like to talk too much about my personal stuff, but when I started and I was doing this, when I was under the kind of your kind of under your wing, and I was watching all your show, I was watching everything before I thought I was an expert in 2 weeks, right? So it was like when I was watching everything out, everything was going fine.
Yeah.
I had no worries. When I got away from the mentorship, I got away from the calls, I got away from being able to ask questions, only not for anything that the program did, but from what I did, I just thought I was doing really well with it. But you do have to be careful because there is anything that you're going to be able to hold money in, there's going to be a chance of fraud, and you got to be very protective. And I learned a very, very expensive lesson, put me in a very, very bad situation. Actually, I had one of my transfers was pending on Uphold. Mm-hmm. And when I went to go to the customer service, I clicked, and when I went to get a phone number, I clicked on it, and it kind of took me off a little bit. So I just typed in customer service for Uphold, and it took me to a duplicate site.
Oh, yeah.
And when I called in, a guy with an Indian accent, and I'm only saying it because that's what it was. Yeah. And he knew everything. He was in the computer already. It was a duplicate site, so he saw everything. I thought it was from Uphold, and I got wiped out of a lot of money. And there's not, and so there's nowhere to go with it. Just like, listen, if there's fraud with stocks, they can buy and sell that all over the world. It is very difficult to get it back with stocks. No matter what it is, the bureaucracy and the stuff you would have to go through. I saw customers that had fraud. They didn't get anything back. So that being said, the only reason why I'm saying this is I want people to realize is that there is reason to be nervous, right? Things can happen. If you rush out on your own and just try to go big like I did, instead of staying with my coach, staying with what I was doing, staying with the program that was being taught to me, what I did was I started to run, and not that I didn't do well, because all the lessons I learned, I did very, very well out there. And in fact, if I would have still had some of the shit they stole from me, I would have been in the millions.
Damn.
Because of how much turbo. Yeah, I had like almost 40 million turbo coins at 7/100,000ths of a penny, and it went to 1 cent.
Yeah. Was it all turbo, or did they take XRP too?
Well, I had like 60,000 XRP. I had 2 Bitcoins at 26,000. XLM. I had Sologenic. I had Corium. I had Songbird. I had Flare. I had a bunch of them. I had Solana.
Did you?
I had Solana in the 20s.
Oh yeah.
But I got wiped.
Did you file a police report?
I did. I called a company in DC that there's some federal offshoot, and they go after it. But I had to pay them out some money first. Then they go look. Then they call me for more money to go look for more. And they're like, they shoot this all over. I mean, the way when they take this out, it gets just funneled all over. And I called Decent up, and Decent. I didn't call Decent up. You can only type them. And they said it's a decentralized exchange. We don't know what you had or what you did. You got to talk to Uphold. And so, point being, it can happen to anybody. And the reason why I want to say is I hope other people realize that, I took a good beating. That was a gut punch. I don't even want to tell you how much I got hit for, but because I know that was ultimately my responsibility, and I made the mistake. Mm-hmm. Nobody else. I made the mistake. And so, with that being said, I want to also talk about security of it, and the fact that because I didn't know the technology as well, and because I was kind of just assuming everything was fine, that's when you get hit, when you get complacent. And so a lot of people out there, that's why they're not doing anything, is they have that fear. For some reason, I don't have that in me where I get scared. I just keep moving.
Yeah.
I'll just keep moving forward, even into unknown waters. I think there's something wrong with me. I don't. Maybe it's where I come from, but I don't have that. I have other things. I just don't have that, and so I move forward. But I just want them to understand that I understand exactly where you're at, what you're feeling in your stomach when you're going to do that. But again, get a coach, take small steps, and because I'm doing the same thing, I'm coming back in a small way. And I'll tell you this. Thank God, anything that I was trading, Lisa was doing on Coinbase in a small way, $25 here in Turbo and XRP. Thank God, because from a very, very small investment, she probably 6 or 8x'd it, and it actually saved us for like 2 months because she was buying what we were doing. She was doing what we were doing. As I was telling her what I was buying for my stuff, she was doing it for us as well, but in a small way, just for her to have fun. She was kind of, and then all of a sudden she showed it to me, and it was like 3,500, 6,200. I was like, holy cow! It was wild. But my point being is that just because that happens, don't you gotta get back in the game. And I just really want to impress. Don't let those little things. And this wasn't a little thing for me. Believe this was a gut punch. But ultimately, I know that. I mean, you look at Jason. He don't have a problem, right?
I've lost money too, though.
I have the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I made mistakes when I was first starting too. I put money in fake assets, like thousands of dollars in, cloned assets because, in some of these wallets and stuff, there will be all these fakes. And if you don't have a coach and you don't know what you're doing, like you could put money in a fake coin instead of the real coin. So I did that with like Stronghold in the very beginning. I put a couple thousand in that one and, just gone. And it does teach you the responsibility of it. Cause it's like, I always go back to the Uncle Ben quote from Spider-Man with more power comes more responsibility. And it's totally true. It's like you got more power, you have more empowerment over your finances and your money. No bank, no government can stick their hand in your pocket, but then it's like all in your court. And you do have to upkeep with it and keep up with the knowledge of what you're doing and knowing. And then once you do make a mistake like that, you're just so much more dialed in. And then you're able to help other people with it too, like we are now, and be like, hey, be careful of this, be careful of that. And there's all these scammers now too. So like what you said with the looking up of the Uphold customer support, to kind of build on that a little bit for people to help them. There are so many, especially on social media, like X, fake customer supports. So like if you're ever on X, for instance, and you make a post, I've done this a lot. I'll make a post and be like, hey, does anyone know how to do this? Or I'm having a problem with my Coinbase, like anyone else having this problem. And I'll get like 10 comments from bots that are like, hey, we're customer support. Click our link. And, and like tons and tons of accounts. So you have to be super careful, especially on X and Twitter with, people reaching out. Also Telegram, people will tell you, hey, you got to secure your crypto in a QFS wallet. That's a big scam. If anyone's ever telling you you need to move your crypto to a QFS secured wallet or a trust wallet or something to secure it, it's a total lie. It's a scam. Don't listen to those people. Just delete the conversation.
That's one of the things they said. They had me open up a trust wallet.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause they want you to basically move it all to their wallet.
To their wallet. Yeah.
They'll either have you move it.
You want to know something though, dude? You want to know something? Before anything actually transpired, as I was talking to him, and as he was talking, I got this feeling through my body. I felt like Jello inside, and nothing happened yet. We were just talking about the issue I was calling about. That there was an account there was a transaction that was pending, a transfer that was just pending for 2 days, and it's not normal. So what do I need to do to fix it? That was it. And as he was talking to me, I felt it. And instead of going with my intuition and realize and just stopping the conversation and just going, okay, let me reset. I was just like, I'm just being paranoid. I mean, I'm just being paranoid. I was on it. I'm like, but always you have to feel that intuition that you talk about, like even when you're picking an investment or what coin to do, or, that intuition is important in every aspect of your life. Even something like that. So, But
And that's
yeah,
where
but
if you have
even to everyone kind of goes there. So
yeah. And if you have a group like ours, like Conscious Crypto Academy, the
mhm.
community, you could check in, for people that are just getting into it. And if you're running into questions or someone contacts you and you're like, I don't know if this is real or not. That's what having the coach in the community is super helpful for, because you just check in, everyone's like, okay, be careful with that. That's a scam, or, oh no, that's good. That's how it's supposed to be. Because sometimes it is normal and it looks intimidating. Like for instance, when you're bridging Corium to be able to stake it on the Cosmos Station wallet,
Yeah,
it'll show you, like, it'll put up a scary message that's like, these funds are going to be black holed. And, people go, whoa, is that normal? And like, that is normal in that case. So there's things that are, you wouldn't expect that are normal. And then there's things that you would think are normal that are actually
yeah.
scammers.
You probably don't remember because you have so many people reaching out to you. But in the beginning, when I was moving stuff over from Uphold onto the Decent hardware wallet,
Uh-huh.
when I was moving it over, when I moved it over, I did something. I sent it to the wrong address. I sent it to the Decent, the hardware wallet address. I had to send it to
Oh
the
yeah.
software wallet, and so I didn't know where it was, and I thought I lost the money right off the bat. And for a week, I was stressing out. I was going, and I was like, I don't want to tell already that I screwed up. I don't want to but then it was like, and I even in the email I said I was stressing for 4 days, and you just wrote me
I
back an
remember
email
that.
like in 3 minutes, and you were like, check blah 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 blah, and I was like, okay. I checked it. I was like, holy shit, man, that's where it was. I was stressing for 4 days.
Dude,
But
you're not the only one. That happened to another student of mine too, who had like 50K in a wallet like that, and he thought it was gone. And I basically was like, hey, just, check this wallet, open it up. And he's like, oh my God, you literally saved me 50K. I thought that was, in the toilet.
yeah, no, it was so funny because it was so quick. How the response was so quick, like, just check here, because you're probably used to how many people doing the same thing. And
Yeah.
I thought, I got off I fixed it, and then I just started to laugh because I was just like,
Yeah.
for 4 days I almost gave myself an ulcer.
Yeah.
But
Thank
yeah.
God
So anyway, as whatever you want to take from it, you can take from it, and just know that everyone goes through a learning curve. But what I want you to take away from it is, if you have somebody who can lead you through the minefield, and you don't have to step on any of the mines, it is the best way to go. Don't learn the hard way like me. Just do it, follow it the right way, and you'll get where you got to go. And really, we just want to make sure you don't let fear paralyze you to inaction, that you do take some action, and even in a small way, so you can set you and your family up to really take advantage of what I think is going to be the golden years of crypto, starting this year with Trump coming into office and being the crypto capital of the world, and having some real, people in higher places now that are really pro crypto. So
Yep.
that being said, let's just move right along to, so I keep getting some comments that people are saying, everyone keeps saying the financial system is failing us, is failing us, is failing us. How is it? How would you characterize the financial system? And this is just in general, right? Not exceptions. Is failing the average person. What would you kind of, how would you? It's a wide area, but if you were kind of to condense it down, is it not being paid any interest while inflation is through the roof, so your money keeps dwindling, or banks going out of business and FDIC is really not there to protect anybody, they don't have enough money? Or is it what they did with Robinhood and AMC, and they wanted to, because the average investor made some money, they got their panties in a bunch. They wanted to put people in jail because obviously the elites didn't make every single penny, or restricting or suppressing the price of physical metals while they're buying tons of it.
Yeah.
Where would you say that the biggest hit to the large general public is?
I think personally, probably the biggest hit is in the devaluation of the dollar while prices are going up. There's price inflation. The currency is inflating like crazy. People are getting taxed up the butt. And then, the value of what they're having, maybe they're getting 1, 2, 3% if they're lucky in the bank in a savings account, but inflation is just wiping that out and it's making it really in the negative anyway. So while everything's going up, your money's being worth less. And then that's how the wealth gap, increases. Is the system is built more for investors. So the smart money is putting their US dollars in investments and their valuations going up, while the average person, middle lower class, is trying to save up in the bank, but they can't even save up because, they're living paycheck to paycheck. And so it's just keeping people at bare bottom. So there's that. And then there's, I think the other biggest part is the lack of like sovereignty in the traditional financial system, where, as we saw with, the Trump family, mainly big families right now, and big individuals, Kanye, people who have had their bank accounts shut down is what I'm trying to say. Like people who have been restricted access to financial services, even in our community of, people doing kind of truth speaking and making YouTube channels and stuff. A lot of people, like I'm pretty sure Journey to Truth and others, they've had their PayPals and some of their other, donation services restricted. So it's not just like the big fish, like the Trump family, but they're going after the little guy too. And then there was the whole Canadian trucker rally where they shut down everybody's bank accounts. They're showing you more and more how they can flex on your financial sovereignty. And financial freedom is kind of the basis of all of our other freedoms in this modern day world. Because if you don't have freedom of finances, then you can't really exercise free speech as efficiently. You can't travel to go to a protest. You can't buy firearms. All these things that are other freedoms, at least in America, they're based on the freedom to have freedom of finance. So without that, we really have nothing. And that's one of the first things that initially drew me to crypto, after seeing the opportunity for the wealth, adjustment and the wealth increase, but seeing that it was like really the only place that you could store money in the digital realm, that Big Brother couldn't stick their hand in your pocket and tell you no. Even now, people trying to buy crypto, a lot of smaller banks and credit unions will just flat out tell them, nope, you're not allowed to buy crypto. Like, you think it's your money, but then they won't let you spend it on what you want to spend it on. So is it really your money if they can tell you, no, you can't spend it on that?
Yeah. It's funny. I think it was actually, I know we're not supposed to say his name, but Andrew Tate was talking about that you really own nothing, because you can have something that says you own a home, but if you become an enemy of the state, meaning you espouse truth to power, or you have a huge following of young men that are starting to kind of maybe fight back, and the power structure don't like it, and so that house that you own, they come and seize it. The cars you own, they come and take them, even without there being loans on it. You own it outright. You own it. You have the paper. They just take it. And so, and he was saying that, and he was like, "Hey, listen. And if I'm, almost a billionaire, or if I'm, I'm worth whatever this much money, what are you gonna do if you're making, $100,000 a year? How are you gonna fight it? They threw us in jail for no. I mean, and so when you look at it, it's very true. That's exactly what's happening. Is like, you really, what do you really, that sovereignty is real important. And, people think that it was really, the Canadian trucker thing was one of the first things that we saw with the GoFundMe and how they froze it. But I think it was like 91. I think Brazil did it to their people. I think in 2014, the U.S. froze $458 million in Nigeria, because they were for corruption. And so, but when you look back, it was just saying that, this is not a new thing, because Brazil, it was like in the 90s they did it. And then a little bit before that, it happened in another country. Now, these are different countries. So it's like, what does it have to do with here? What it has to do with here is that it's coming very close to home, and it's happening in the countries that are really, the people are really, really under the thumb of the government. So here, that we're not supposed to be, and we're
Yep.
supposed to have free speech. But if you have free speech the wrong way, or you're someone of significance,
Mhm.
and you say the wrong thing, you got some problems coming your way. So,
Yep.
but
And that's
this has
where,
been that's been a tactic for a while now.
especially if you're in another country, like a third world country, like you're talking about, that's where
Mhm.
crypto can really be beneficial. If you're a refugee and you need to flee your country, you know, selling your house, selling physical assets is pretty much impossible in a situation where you're trying to get out as soon as possible. But if you can just take your crypto wallets and
Yep,
take them with you, you know, even
that's like
gold and
putting the
silver.
bank in your pocket.
Exactly. Yeah. You can only take so much gold and silver with you.
Yeah.
you'd be weighed down, right? But with crypto, you just a little thing, and yeah, bank in your pocket, and nobody. You could take it to another country, set up an exchange there, sell it if you need to, or like so many South American countries now just take crypto directly, even if not on a, like El Salvador has Bitcoin as one of their national currencies, but even in like Costa Rica and other places, a lot of just small merchants will just take it. So
Mhm.
you can in some places live off of it without ever having to sell it, which is the future, really. That's where I see it going here in the next few years too. Is you're not going to have to sell it. You're just going to be able to do commerce with it directly.
Yeah, and some of there's the crypto credit card, right? That you
Yeah.
can start using already on some of them.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, so I mean, it's probably just going to, I think it's just going to snowball from there. But
Hmm.
yeah, so you know, and you look at it, and so when you frame it in that way, a great hedge against inflation, yeah, it would be, Lisa. It would be very convenient. That would be it's amazing because some of the things that some companies online that do take right now, they'll take like Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff
Hmm.
for certain. I mean, and it's almost like that they rather it almost. It's crazy. It happens quicker and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think we're definitely going there, and it is very, very convenient when you have it like that. And even
Yep.
on the Cash App, you can actually instead of holding it just in your Cash App balance, you can put it in Bitcoin.
Hmm.
And so, if you did that, if you had, say $1,000 on your cash card, in 30 days, if Bitcoin went from, say, when it went from 30,000 to 50,000, say, and you had it in there, if you didn't have it in Bitcoin, you wouldn't have obviously enjoyed any of the gains. And you'd have still had that same $1,000, and who knows, maybe little fees would have maybe popped out of it. But
Hmm.
if Bitcoin would have doubled, say say double, so would that's a massive gain for having money just sit there. So I think crypto, as we start to move down the lane, it's
Hmm.
going to be used for more and more. What that's going to do is bring more comfortability to people, right? Because they're going to see it out there more, and they're going to be like, okay, so if they're doing it and they're taking it, then I think it's probably okay to do. But what we're trying to do is say everything runs in patterns, right? And if you can see the patterns coming, if you are a strategist in mind, like if you have that type of mindset, and I do to some extent, I have that. I'm always looking for, that's why how my mind works.
Hmm.
But if you can, I never really focused it on this, but if you can focus on the patterns, and you could go back, and whether it's how the financial markets run, you go back to whatever time you'd like. Over that 20-year period, you're going to have good times, a
Hmm.
dullard, right? A flatten out, a plateau, and then you're going to have, winter. Is it how harsh of a winter, right? And so, but if you can see those patterns coming
Hmm.
and then act on it before it happens, then you're going to start making money. And then they said, like, the next step you want to get to is if you can create
Hmm.
patterns, because you've become such an expert at maximizing the opportunities of the patterns that continue to cycle through history. Now you start to create patterns of your own. And so you're not planting seeds in fall to come in winter, because you're not going to get any return, because winter you're not going to grow anything. You're starting to plant them, maybe end of winter, so they come in spring. Then you
Hmm.
have the tough summer, and you plant it in spring, and then autumn, when fall comes around, that's when you get your big harvest, and you understand those patterns, right? So that's what a big thing to, and don't discount that, because if you can start to connect those dots, you can realize that there really is whenever we're such a divided nation, where we've never been this divided, we're close to a world war, and yes, that all may be true, but it did happen in the past.
Right.
If you go back way back when, and I don't want to give a history lesson because history is definitely not my favorite subject, but if you go back in history, there are between a couple of presidents that it was so divisive, and the languaging that was used was so bad that it was incredible that they actually were saying some of the things they were saying, and it really divided the country. And so we went through that. We thought we were going to go through a war, and these things happen throughout history, and we may go through a skirmish. It may be like a nuclear, or God forbid, or with bombs. It may be a cyber attack, right? We may get a cyber hit. So something may happen, because that's happened throughout history. So but if you can see those patterns, it does take a lot of the uncertainty out of it, and there's no guarantees. There's always going to be risk in it, so no guarantees. But if you can align those dots, and that's something where when you have somebody, again, if you're following crypto over a certain amount of time, you're going to see patterns. And so, and a good example of that was, Marathon was a stock company, right? they do excavating for Bitcoin.
Okay.
And
I'm not familiar with it, but yeah.
Oh yeah. So what they do is, so they do it, and I haven't done it in a long time. It's been a year. So but I'll just tell you what it generally is. At the end of the month, when Bitcoin comes down, it was coming down in value. MARA, M-A-R-A, is the stock symbol, would follow it down. And then what would happen is that was because they had to pay for all the energy output, because they were utilizing so much energy to excavate Bitcoin, right? Or to mine it.
Right.
And so they would have to pay for it. But then what they would do is they would make another Bitcoin, and then they would selling a bunch of Bitcoin to make it back. So then Bitcoin would come back up, and the stock would follow. So what the play was is, if you own Bitcoin, great. How do you put it on steroids? By either put options at the end of the month, right, and then by call options, to follow it up. So now you're making money on the options on the way down and up, and you're making money on Bitcoin if you're buying it down when it comes down at the end of the month, moving up. And you can see that there are different companies that sometimes align to different cryptos, and that's what I'm really interested in seeing is with XRP, and the family. If when the financial markets start to they shake out all the corruption and all the BS, whatever's left, if any of those, whether it's the banking industry on the whole, and you're looking at like the ultra short of the financial industry, whatever it may be, if that runs in congruence to XRP, it's a way to supercharge it and do some things. So that's right now what I'm trying to look for. I'm trying to. I just downloaded a couple of things now that I'm trying to get a little bit of AI help to track some of the technical analysis of what stocks that are following XRP and some of the other ones, to see because that can be a massive opportunity. And that's why I say it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can use both in complement. But just know what you're doing and have an intention when you do it. Because if you don't have an intention on what you're doing, when you want to get out, and what you want to make, so this is what I want to do. If it don't do it, then move out of it. Don't just take losses, and don't just do it. Have an intention on what you're looking to do. XRP is the anchor, and this is where it's going. So we know we're going to keep that. But if there's something else that can work in conjunction with it, then the intention is that's what we're going to do. But have an entry point and an exit point. An entry point and an exit point, and stick to it. So if you have that intentionality, you can really start to, kind of load up and get some nice returns for yourself. And that was one of the things that we talked about with Lisa and I, and we had Emma and Gianna on with us at the end of the year. And we were just talking about intentionality with, kind of manifesting. You need that intentionality, right? But, so I was saying you want to have intentionality with everything you do. If you're a janitor, have an intention to go and be the best janitor, because you are going to work this hour, and you're going to clean, you're going to do, just not for any other reason, but because you have enough self-respect and integrity to have an intention to be the best the best janitor out there, right? The best. I shovel up dog shit. I'm going to be the best dog shit shoveler ever, right? And you have that intentionality of going, I'm going to do 2 blocks today, and I'm going to do it well. It's the same thing with investments. Don't just move into it. Do some due diligence, and if you have to, be careful and do. I know Jace and I spoke about dollar cost averaging in the past, and so some of the ways that you would say a good strategy for moving in, kind of moving in, some strategies that you would kind of talk with some kind of beginners who are looking to move into it, but they don't want to just go, they want to test the waters and move forward. What would you say a good, the best practices, and how does the dollar cost averaging work?
Yeah, I think it's obviously it's different for everybody and how much risk versus reward they want to, kind of go for. But I think a good kind of middle ground is if you're brand new, say you have $10,000 that you want to allocate to crypto. Maybe put like 3, 4, even 5,000 of that in the beginning. I think somewhere between 30, even 25 to 50%, somewhere in that region, depending on where the market's at and how you're feeling. Put that in up front, and then dollar cost average the rest in over time. But it's honestly different for everybody. Some people are going to feel more called to putting it all in at once, and that might be the best thing for them. And other people might feel more called to just putting 1,000 of their 10,000 in, and then dollar cost averaging the rest. So it's hard to speak for like.
It's got to be like situational awareness, right?
Exactly.
Like, so if XRP is near its all-time high, maybe you start out, like you said, with maybe 20% of that 10,000, and then you dollar cost average to see if it fluctuates. But if it pulls back to 90 cents, you may want to start out with a little more, knowing what
you want to have some cash to be able to put in at that point. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, so it depends where the starting point is, and it is situational. And so, so what, you want to see what situation you're in, moving forward. But if you don't have a chunk of money, putting in, that's whether it's 25 or $50 every paycheck or every week, whatever it is, if you can stick with the same consistent amount over time, you'll get a good cost average. You won't buy at the absolute low or the absolute high. You'll buy at all different spots, but you'll create a nice baseline for yourself. So when it does move, you're not in all at a top dollar or a bottom dollar. You got a good average. So it's a good way to go in.
Especially if you have stable income and cash flow, and you can dedicate, every week or every other week or even every month to it, then even putting a larger chunk in up front, kind of, you'll still be able to dollar cost average, versus other people I know are living off their savings. Maybe they're retired and they don't have the cash flow, or they have an inheritance or something like that. And in that case, you might want to save a little bit of that cash to be able to enter the market if it goes down, if you don't have, future cash flow coming in.
Yeah. And that's a great point. And the other thing is, there's a huge amount of retirement assets out there. Even in old 401ks, there is, I forgot the number because it's been a while since I've been in that world, but it is a huge number of people that just have no idea what to do with their old 401ks and cash them out. It is a big number. And so if you can, instead of cashing them out and taking penalties, if you can roll those over to an IRA and put crypto in there, is there a specific cryptos you can and can't put in IRAs?
I'm not too familiar with it, but when I looked it up, like about a year ago, I was looking into it, and I guess it depends on the kind of IRA, and I'm not super familiar with how it works, but it seems most of the case, you're not in custody of your crypto. The IRA is the one holding it. Although I think I talked to somebody who had some kind of IRA where they did hold the crypto personally, which I don't know how that would work with the IRA, but the IRAs that I were seeing in the retirement accounts in general, most of them were limited to just Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think there was only, as of like 1 to 2 years ago, there was only like one that might have supported XRP, but that might be different now that XRP is, a top 3 crypto again. And moving into the future, I would expect that it's going to get included in some of those portfolios, but it's more limited.
No, I think so too. And you can, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you can put it in an IRA. And so, yeah, you can use self-directed IRAs, but you can put it in depending on the IRA. It wouldn't matter on the IRA because they're all retirement accounts. It's just some of you can put some, you can do a bigger contribution. But yeah, and it's another way where whether you're getting tax benefits, tax write-offs, depending on what it is. Especially if you're looking at, like, I know a lot of your strategy is to buy and hold, and and just hold it for the long term. And so when you do something like that in an IRA, that's perfect for an IRA because it'll go in there tax deferred. If you have a Roth IRA, then it comes out tax free, or tax free if there's a couple of criteria, but for the most part, you're getting it tax free. That's why people do a Roth. But so there are different ways you can go. So if you have an old 401k or you have stuff like that, and again, this is just, you do it. This is not financial advice. This is just something that I did with my old 401k. So I figured I'd put it out there. But I think anything you can do to start to build your crypto portfolio and start to get used to it. And again, it doesn't, regardless what account it's in, you want to make sure that you're getting the right guidance on what you're putting in there, what you're buying, and again, regardless of what account it's in, whether the name of the account don't matter as long as you're able to put it in there. It really wouldn't matter. You want to make sure that you're getting advice on cryptos that have utility, right? As Jace puts it, they got to have utility. We got to have some teeth in it, meaning that's going to have some functionality moving forward in real industry. And so that's the important thing. And so so it looks like a Trust Capital looks like to be a good IRA. Thanks a lot, A West. And you can trade live. You can do live trades in it, which is cool.
Yeah, so that's nice. If you can trade in the IRA, that's great. I think it probably still won't let you self-custody it, but there might be some out there that would allow some form of self-custody where you can have it in a private wallet, but I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, what it would do is you wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think you wouldn't necessarily have, because that'll be as like a disbursement if you own it, just like physical metal. Like once you can't have custody of it, but what you can do is it's like a self-directed IRA. So it's not even though it may be, say, with Morgan Stanley, but if it's a self-directed IRA, their brokers have nothing to do with it. I could put, whether I want to put real estate in there, or real estate investment trusts, or crypto, or precious metal, it doesn't matter as long as the custodian takes it. But I'm making the decisions, and so that may be what he's talking with, like the self-directed of being in control of it, because he is in control of it. Then, and one thing, guys, Jace does have a call and may have to jump off. So if you see him jump off, it's just because he has an engagement coming up, and I don't want to make him late. So whenever you have to go, Jace, I get it. And if you just have to hop off.
Yeah, I'm probably going to head out in within the next 5 minutes. So if there's anything, so this is what I want to talk about before you go is XR. Yeah, obviously XRP is the, it is kind of our anchor, right? Yeah. That's our anchor. That's the big guy in what we're doing. And then we have the family around it. So I'm just going to go to the segment where I wanted to really talk about in 2025 and your strategy as far as why do you think XRP is going to be a game changer, and how do you think it's going to affect the other family of cryptos, and will it be able to affect crypto on a whole, like say how when Bitcoin moves, how the market moves? Do you think that it would be a game changer in a way where when XRP moves, the market's going to move? Yeah, so I think this could be the year that XRP decouples from Bitcoin as the leading market, head. So right now, everything follows Bitcoin. These 4-year cycles that we have with crypto are because of Bitcoin and what's called the halving in Bitcoin, where every 4 years, the Bitcoin miners make half the amount. So that's why every 4 years, there's these predictable cycles, and they coincide with presidential elections for whatever reason. That was coded in there, maybe on purpose, maybe not. But I think this is the year that most likely they're going to decouple, which means XRP will no longer be tied to Bitcoin in those 4-year cycles. And I think that's when we start getting into the utility. So especially as this flip of the switch happens, this moment where it's basically like the pipes, the plumbing has been built and we're just waiting for the power and the water to turn on to start moving through the plumbing. And that's when utility comes in. That's when XRP will be in use for cross-border payments on a very active level. And I think this is probably the year it happens. And if that does happen, which I think it is, if not this year, in the next few years for sure, I think it'll overtake Ethereum for one, as become number two, which it used to be in 2018. It was the number two crypto behind Bitcoin. And then there was a bunch of corruption and stuff. And, they basically attacked Ripple and XRP and let Ethereum come in and propped them up and gave them free passes for, regulatory laws. So I think it'll pass it. And then, and even, it's making me think Brad Garlinghouse just had an interview yesterday, the head of Ripple, where he likened it to a basketball being held underwater. He's like, XRP was basically this basketball that was being held underwater. And he's like, people are like, well, why is the price coming up now all of a sudden? He's like, well, when you hold a basketball underwater and then you let go, it's going to come flying up, right? So it's basically like the SEC and everybody else was, just trying to keep this basketball, under the water. And now, with Trump coming in, it's all getting let up. Like you said, pro crypto guys are getting put in. So I think that basketball or, that spring, whatever analogy, it's going to come flying in the other direction. And I think it could very easily be the top performing crypto, at least in the top, 100 of the big cryptos. And then that ecosystem around it, that's where those could even have greater returns than XRP potentially. Because for instance, with Corium, that market cap is so small. Corium is under 100 million market cap. Stronghold and Sologenic are like 200 million, somewhere around there. So, in the ecosystem, just like with Bitcoin and everything else, it trickles down, right? So as XRP goes up, people are going to sell those profits. They're going to put those profits into smaller coins like these ecosystem that not everybody knows about on the outside, but the people like us, we know about them because we've been researching them, investing in them, studying them. So that's where some of those, they could even have a bigger return of investment than XRP. And that's how I'm hedging my bets. So XRP is my biggest at like maybe 60% of my portfolio personally. It fluctuates depending, but the rest I have split up into these smaller, ecosystem coins around XRP.
But XRP is always the anchor of our, that's the anchor of the portfolio moving forward. Yep. And so, so I wanted to make sure I got that in because I know, when it comes to that family of cryptos that, Jace is definitely one of the guys to talk to about that because that's his wheelhouse. And I'll tell you, it's a good thing it was because it really did. It served us really well. And and anyone who listened, they did good as well. So.
And I'll tell you this real quick. I'll tell you because I know earlier you said you wanted to talk about kind of strategy for 2025. So I'll tell you my strategy real quick, and then I'm going to jump off.
Okay.
Because I have it's related to what I'm about to talk about actually. So the meme coins that's kind of my newer strategy going into 2025 is, of course, to keep all the foundations of everything that we've been talking about with these utility coins as the big amount of the portfolio. But now I'm really trying to use this meme coin market that's coming up on XRP to get more XRP. So I really see, the meme coins as a really good opportunity to multiply your XRP holdings. We look at XRP and see the dollar value go up and down. But if you can look at like a meme coin traded in XRP and then see the XRP value going up and down, it's a great way to be able to get more without having to put more US dollars into it. If you're tight on cash or, even if you could just completely outshadow what you'd be able to put in cash into it. If you get a 10X or 100X on a meme coin that is traded in XRP. So that's my strategy going into 2025 is to use this and learn more about these markets to basically take that money and put it in my utility bags and my long-term, hardy, ecosystem ISO 2022 coins. And that's part of what I'm about to go do right now is one of those meme coins that I'm really involved in that ecosystem and that community. This one's called ZERP, and it's a alien Pepe. It's ZERP, ZERP, and it's named after what they used to call XRP ZERPs on 4chan back, like even before I was into it. It was like the slang. They'd say, "Hey, how do I get more ZERPs?" And that's talking about getting more XRP.
Okay.
So it's a play on that, but the lore behind the meme is it's a alien Pepe, and so they have this
Pepe.
whole like, yeah, it's a Pepe, but it's a purple Pepe because he's an alien, and it's kind of like I've been joking around that it's going to be the meme coin of disclosure, because that's what it genuinely feels like to me. Is like, it's culturally it could kind of become that, so I'm trying to push it in that direction. But they're doing an NFT mint today. In like 5 minutes, it's going to start. So I'm going to go get on that and
Awesome.
mint some of these NFTs. And
Oh,
well, we can talk about it next time.
and right before you go, I don't know if you saw. If you want, I'll send it again. I sent you an email on that the pre-IPO thing I got.
Yeah,
Nugget.
I didn't. I scanned it, but I need to go look at it more. The golden nugget thing.
Yeah. When you get it, when you get a chance, I just want to know if
Yeah.
you know, because if it's still there, if I can go and grab it and move it over, that would be good.
Oh, for sure. Okay, I'll look into it today, and then I'll get back to you.
All right, man. Yeah, I'm interested.
Right.
Let me know how that thing goes with this ZERP.
Yeah, I will, and I can tell you how to get some of the coin too.
Okay.
I'll text you and I'll show you how to do it.
You got it, man. All right, be good. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Sounds good. See you, everybody.
All right. So, guys, a couple of things, and then we're going to wrap up as well because we're coming up on the hour. But you know, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is, you know, there's a fear. You know, sometimes there could be a fear about you know, crypto, about AI, because they feel like there's kind of alien concepts with it, and so, you know, when you got to get to a point where we start to normalize it, normalize the fears, and instead of being fearful about it, get excited about the information you could learn and learning something new moving into the future. And the example you set for whether it's people in your family, a friend group, whatever it may be. But you want to make sure that, you know, you fully understand that everybody feels that way first. If you're moving into a new investment, there's going to be a little bit of a twinge of anxiety because you want to make sure it's a good investment, right? But you know, the good news is you don't have to understand it all to do something small, right? So you can open up your wallet, get on an exchange, you go through know your customer, you see that it's fine, and you can start off really small. No, they don't ask for a minimum of 5 or 10 or 12, whatever thousand. You can start off really small and kind of see how it works and move in and out a little bit at first. So it's something where you want to start to realize that this is where we're actually moving. You want to be ahead of the game and start to educate yourself on some of these things. And you know, I find most of the people that I have an issue with are people around my age. So say I'm 54, but from like say 45 on up, you know, the technology and really wanting to kind of fall behind. You know, I'm old school, and you know, I wish it was back where it was, and we don't, you know, why did we have to do these, these things now? And so don't fall. It's very easy to fall into that. So, and don't do it. If you find yourself going there, you know, don't do it. And when that happens, look up something and educate yourself on where we're going. And, you know, if you know, back in the day, Wayne Gretzky, right, the great one, he was small. He didn't skate particularly fast. But he said the reason why he was the best is he didn't go where the puck was. He went where the puck was going to be, right? He anticipated where the puck was going to be. And that's why he was always, you know, in the right position to do great things. And so that's what we're saying. And that's what we need to do for ourselves in all aspects, right, of what we're doing. So when you see that some of these things can actually really help you, that's where you want to go. And that's where you want to kind of put your focus. And so, again, just a small action step. Start small. Get a wallet. You know, open it up. And if you have any questions, again, put them in the comments. And what we'll do is, as I'm accumulating a lot of these comment questions, we'll have we're going to do a podcast where it's strictly you could ask whatever you want live, but also we're going to go and we'll start answering some of those questions. And I don't want you to forget any of your questions. So if you write them in the comments or just at least write them down, so we have them, so you get your questions answered where you have a comfortability where you don't mind, kind of taking small steps to set yourself up, so you can really take advantage of what's to come. So, we talked about what we think about XRP and the family around XRP. That's what we're doing. But I just want to finish off about a couple of things. It's, at a certain age, and I said, because I'm had to reinvent myself, a little bit doing something like this. Lisa and I do it with deep dives, and we're trying to, jump in, and we're trying to learn the technology. And, but, we're looking at it instead of having that fear creep in. We look at it like we start laughing at each other, how we just didn't click one thing and it threw everything off, right? Or something like that'll happen. And so we look at it more like, look at the journey that we're on together, right? And so we're moving forward. And one of the things, and Jason and I spoke about it too, is that, you can tell he's sharp, right? He's a sharp young guy. He's impressive. And he's very he just picks up on the vernacular and the technology really quickly, right? And I wanted to let him, and so as long as he's letting, he's bringing information forward. And I was telling him, like, what my real goal is, I feel like I'm a coach at heart. And, I look at it like the people who are in the generation, say from 40 or 45 and up, and having to reinvent themselves, whether, they took a hit in the markets, or, they're in the markets, but they're nervous, or they're out and they just been in cash and they can see that their dollar don't go as far, whatever it may be. And you need to do something else. There are so many things on YouTube, and certain things you probably know, certain things you can do, but when you don't know what you don't know, and you see other people doing something in that same genre, or and they're going, you're like, I could have did that. And I love coaching people. I love helping people. And so one of the things that I wanted to do, especially in doing something like this, is one, get someone who is fully engrossed in the crypto and technology communities, and so we got Jace, right? But I also wanted to do this for anybody who is looking to move forward, but they are older, and like me, they're not technology adverse, but not so good with technology, and we're learning it. So I'm learning all the time, and I'm always trying to educate myself all the time. And Lisa, I tell you, I'll be up at 3 a.m. and I'll be doing a program. I'll be trying to feed myself information on how to do this, because this is where we're going, and I want everybody to feel empowered to learn and feel empowered to know that you can do it. And exactly, A. West, Saldivar, knowledge is power. But just a little caveat I have to that is, knowledge is power if you take action on it, right? Because there's a lot of people that have knowledge, and that's great to do that. But if you don't use it and take knowledge, or at least pay it forward, and go like, this is what I learned, and I can help this group of people, I can help this generation, or I can help these couples do better, whatever it may be. But I think once we start to get to having wisdom as you get older, is what the advantage of our generation, right? Because it's just not being, smart, right? You do good in school and that's all great. But as you start to live more life and you have more experiences, that's where wisdom comes in. And so the knowledge that comes with that is really powerful. If you can start to take action on that and start bringing that wisdom forward through the technology age, through AI helping you with some ideas and laying out some things and doing some research. So it's not taking you so long to expose your weakness in technology because AI can do that for you and just kind of give you a layout. But then everything that you're going to do in there is authentically you. It comes from a place deep in your heart that you know through your experiences and you're able to help. And so that is what my mission is when Lisa and I did the deep dives, and when I started doing, she and Lisa actually got me introduced through Jace's wife. She's kind of Ascension, was it Ascension Diaries, I think. But she is, Ascension Diaries. So she is, and she's really good with the sun. And Lisa was enamored with that because she loves the sun stuff, and she's very, very knowledgeable on that. And so when we're watching her, and so Lisa's shown me because she shows me all that stuff, and then that's how we met Jace. So thank God for Alexis, because then we got Jace, and then that's how I got into the program and learned crypto. And when I was first learning it, again, guys, I was a fish out of water. I didn't know blockchain, this chain. I was like, whoa. But but what happened is, like anything else, once you connect a few dots, it's like anything else you've learned through your life. It all works the same way. We just have, it's a kind of it's not a real thing that technology is just this one thing that we can't learn. So we can do that. And when it comes to reinventing yourself, there's nothing more important to do because, again, life runs in patterns. History runs in patterns. And the pattern is, if you can anticipate what's to come and be there first or be there in the beginning, you'll reap the rewards at the end. So don't always be the end guy. Try to be let's anticipate it. So if we can start to learn together and we can do that, we can do some things out there and we can create a whole class of genre of our generation moving forward and set the example of it's never too late to move forward, never too late to learn, and never too late to actually get into an entrepreneurial business that's in technology, using AI and some of the shit we never thought we'd do. So it is exciting. And so that's why I look at it. This is exciting to me. So the fear is gone. The anxiety of it is gone. It is very exciting to learn this stuff, and it's interesting, really interesting. And where you put your focus, your energy will go there, and you will learn what you have to learn, because you would not have that. You would not perceive to do that. You would not think to do that if you weren't already there. So if you know that and you know you have it, it's in your field, you just need to take the steps to get there. And you just need to put one foot in front of the other. And that's what we should be doing with each other. Is I will always extend my hand to help you up one step, and maybe that'll be the step that gets you moving. So I don't want to go too much on my soapbox. I don't want to take too much time with it, but I really wanted to impress upon you that that is what my journey is, and I feel like that's what I want to really bring forward. And I hope that it lets you get an empowerment mindset, right? Not a fearful lack or scarcity mindset moving forward, because I think you'll have some wonderful things to teach people. And this goes for men and women of our age moving forward. And I think we have a lot to offer. And I think it'll be a great thing when we see more and more of us out there like that. And I think we'd be very appreciated, because the wisdom that will come to bear and the teachings we may be able to do will really help some of the younger generation as they move forward, and to complement all the smarts they come with, that we may be able to impart on them, where they would just be, kind of like on steroids, because they just got, a good boost, and we connected some dots that they may not have known about. So something to think about. And the last thing I'll leave you with is, I wanted to start off with talking about it, but I want to end with this. Let's be fear busters, right? Not purveyors of it. Let's be empowerment, paying it forward, moving it forward, being intentional with what you want to do in the future for you, for your family. Talk about it. Say what you believe. what you believe is going to come to bear, and say it proudly, and say it with all intentionality that you know it's going to happen. And I think we'll all meet at the finish line because there's enough for everybody, right? It's not a zero-sum game. It's infinite out there, and we could all get our piece of it and do really well. And so let's help each other. Let's be there for each other. And I look forward to our next one. This one was a little early, guys. And so it was an hour early. In 2 weeks, we should be running on time at 10. But I'll put some notifications out there if we do have a different time. But it should be 10 o'clock a.m. 2 weeks from now, which would be what, the 21st. We'll move this conversation forward. Send any questions you have in. Please send them in. I'll save all of them, and we will have a show to answer all your questions. And until then, God bless, and I wish all of you well. Happy New Year, and let's kill 2025. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.